Hey guys, I'm just starting to go live with a reading of The Amazing Adventures of Selma Calderón. And we just got back from the woods, so I had to change my clothes and get ready to spend some time with you. I hope that you are having very safe and healthy time. And if you're impacted, if your health is impacted, I'm really sending you just so much healing energy. Part of the purpose of reading to you is really to distract us from all this intense focus. I'm a big proponent of hunkering down now and what I'm calling Camp FTC, Camp Flatten the Curve. Hashtag Camp FTC, to help us just find creative ways to hunker down. And I know not all of us have that luxury because some of us have essential jobs. And I thank you if you're on the front lines with the medical field, as well as all the delivery people, all the people picking up the trash, people, civil servants, and all the people that are keeping our lives going. I just really, really want to say thank you for that. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and show you The Amazing Adventures of Selma Calderón. This is a book that I wrote over the course of 10 years. And what's really been exciting, hey Chet, welcome. I decided to go ahead and read some of this. I'm working on the sequel right now, and I'm really, really excited about, of all things, the characters go to Calabria, to Belvedere Marittimo, the place where St. Valentine's bones are, and Itri and Sperlonga and in Italy, and they go a couple other places. Hey, Paula. And what I'm doing is I have to reread my own book because I published it in 2015. And so I've been writing the sequel on and off for some time. It also takes place in Morocco. So I thought it'd be fun if I read this and distract you and distract me and start by just reading a couple chapters. So this book is called The Amazing Adventures of Selma Calderón, and it is a globetrotting magical mystery of courage, food, and friendship. Hi! So I'm going to go ahead and start you. The main character's name, obviously, is Selma. First chapter is called Kukalakis. Here we go. Traveling by magic can be a little risky, but it's also exciting. Just a few more days and I'm headed to Paris during school. It'll be my first time using magic to go from one country to another. I'll miss Mrs. Cushing's technology class, but I'll definitely be back in time for Mr. Aguirre's music class. Now that I'm in 5th grade, I think I'm ready to test my powers more. Guadi started teaching me spells when I turned 8. Guadi's my guardian. She and my mom were best friends since elementary school. She's been taking care of me since I was 2. I have so many wishes. I want to know more about magic. I want to learn more about my parents. Guadi told me they were in a boating accident. That was so long ago. I can't remember them. And whenever I ask questions, she gives me short answers. Like when I ask how they met, she said, they met in the Atlantic Ocean and fell in love. She won't give me any details. When I asked her about my last name, she said it comes from my mom's side, which seems weird. Why wouldn't I have my dad's last name? Anyhow, she said my mom was part Mexican and part Polish. I think if I can get better at spells, I can use magic to remember how we used to play, what both my parents looked like, even what they smelled like. Part of the reason I want to use magic to travel is because I've always dreamed of exploring the world by eating all the foods that are special in each country. Oh, I've been having fun at home pretending I live in another place, cooking new foods and then eating them. But now I want to do it for real. Someday I'll own the coolest restaurant filled with my favorite dishes from all my adventures around the world. After people eat their meals, I'll blast some music and we'll push back the chairs and tables and dance every single night. I actually started learning spells just by watching Guadi, and then I begged her to teach me. I experimented with our cat Uli, whose full name is Ulysses, or Ulysses. I could tell he didn't really like it the time I turned him into a dog. Guadi didn't really like it either. She explained that the world isn't ready for magic in an open way. Some people are afraid of it. And some people might try to use it or use us to do bad things. So I kept it a secret. Guadi stores a wooden recipe box filled with spells on top of the fridge. I remember the first time I learned how to do a transportation spell from Guadi. When she walked into the room, I was sitting at my desk writing a menu for my restaurant with red, purple, and green markers. "Hi, Selma," she said, peeking over my shoulders. "I like your choice of colors." "Thanks," I said, looking up. That's when I noticed she was holding her recipe box. "What are you doing with that?" "I'm going to teach you a transportation spell." I jumped out of my chair and clapped my hands quickly over and over. "Really? You're actually going to teach me a spell I can do all by myself?" "Yes," Guadi said. "That's exactly what we're going to do." Guadi was wearing a long, flowing, bright pink skirt. She sat down right in the middle of my room, so her skirt spread around her like a big flower. "Wow, let's do it!" I hopped from where I was standing and plopped down so I was facing her, sitting cross-legged. She placed the box on top of her skirt and pulled out a card. I leaned forward to look inside the box, but she quickly snapped it shut. "This is a basic transportation spell, Selma. For now, it can be used to move from room to room in our apartment. When your magic is stronger, you can create your own unique spells to travel longer distances, even between countries." My eyes opened wide and I showed my toothiest smile. "But for now," she said, "it's important to never try this spell without letting me know." I nodded. I was already breathing fast. I felt like I was about to ride a roller coaster, and I couldn't help but think how cool it would be to travel the world once I mastered the spell. "I understand. Can we please get started? I can't wait." "Yes, but before we do, there's one word missing from the spell. It's your magical word. Everyone has their own unique word, and I selected yours for you." My mouth dropped open, but nothing came out. "I can see you're excited," Guadi laughed a little, took my hand, and leaned over to me. She whispered in my ear, "It's kukalakas." "Oh, I like the way that sounds," I said. Guadi leaned back and watched me. "Go ahead and say it, Selma. You need to feel comfortable with the word rolling around in your mouth." I put my hands palms up on my knees like I've seen people do when they meditate, closed my eyes, and said, "Kukalakas." Guadi smiled. "Say it again 3 times in a row. Kukalakas, kukalakas, kukalakas." "Great job, honey," Guadi said. "I think you're ready to learn more about the spell." My eyes got real big, really big. "The plan is for you to move from your room to the kitchen. But before you recite the spell, you need to think of a specific spot in the kitchen and imagine, hey, Russell, and imagine, think of a specific spot in the kitchen and imagine how you will physically end up." I nodded, starting to picture myself there. "Now, since you're doing this spell while sitting, you should keep it simple. Picture yourself landing on the floor in the kitchen, right next to the refrigerator door. Just sitting like you are now. Envision that spot and see yourself there. That's the only thing you can keep your mind in, okay? Keep in your mind, okay?" "Okay," I said, closing my eyes. But I was so excited. I started thinking about all the places in the world I could go, and I couldn't see the kitchen. "Focus, Selma. Think about the kitchen," Guadi said. My eyes popped open. "How'd you know?" "I know you," Guadi smiled. "Now close your eyes again. What does the floor look like? How close will you be sitting to the fridge? Will you be facing the fridge or facing the kitchen table?" I closed my eyes, took a deep breath in, and then let it out slowly. I thought about the ocean blue tiles on the floor. I saw the fridge full of my drawings and magnets. "I'm ready to read it now, Guadi." She handed me the card and I said the words out loud. "Hallow there, hallow here, walls melt, Now there's no fear. Bring me to another place. Bright new vision for my face. Kukalakas. The next thing I knew, I was in the kitchen, sitting cross-legged, looking at my drawing of the Eiffel Tower in Paris, stuck to the fridge by our Phillies magnet. My belly felt a little woozy, like I just went down a big slope on a roller coaster. I stood up a little too quickly and had to grab the fridge handle for balance. Then I started yelling as I ran back to my room. I did it, Guadi! I did it! It was just like you said! Guadi was still sitting in the same position with a big grin on her face. Great job, Selma. I'm so happy for you. Your very first lesson worked perfectly. Now, have a seat so I can tell you a bit more about what it means to have powers. I started to sit down, but got a glimpse of my hair in the mirror. It looked like I just took a ride in a convertible. I started to giggle, but then I saw Guadi's face had gone serious. That was when she began to explain the rules of magic, like how I'm not allowed to do spells on people unless I'm afraid they're going to hurt me or someone else. Also, I'm never allowed to perform spells at school. There's too much risk of people finding out. She also explained her own powers. Guadi has an extra strong connection to me like a mother would have with a daughter. Even if she isn't my real mom, I love her like one. She says that because of our love and our powers, she can tune into me like when you pick a channel on TV. If she tunes into my channel, she can sense what I'm doing or if I'm in trouble. That's why I'll know you're trying to use magic for shortcuts, like putting your dishes in the sink after meals or for doing homework, she said. Magic is a precious resource, and we don't want to waste it on silly things we can do ourselves. She also said it's important that I learn to be responsible and do what other kids do, which is why I still have to make my bed and take out the garbage. At least I can earn an allowance. I'm up to $3 a week, and Guadi says when I take on more chores, I'll earn $5. We moved to Chicago in July. Our new apartment is in a neighborhood called Pilsen, just 8 blocks from my school. The whole place feels magical. There was an artist who lived here before us, so the ceiling in my room has its very own painting. When I lie in bed, I look up at a beautiful woman with skin like cajeta. That's an awesome Mexican caramel made with goat's milk. And long, thick brown hair ending in swirls. She kind of reminds me of Guadi. And there's a man who's singing while playing a guitar. The sky all around them is light blue with clouds, but it's not a normal sky. There are individual ribbons of green, red, yellow, and a deep, deep purple floating and twisting above the whole painting. One of my favorite parts is where the artist wrote in flowing black letters, Música, canto y pensamiento. Music, singing, and thought. The whole apartment is just like a long freight train with room after room. Just inside the door, the living room is on the left, followed by the dining room. My room is next to Guadi's bedroom, across from the dining room, on the right. A little farther down is the bathroom, and then the kitchen is at the very end with Guadi's study off of it, kind of tucked away in its own corner. One of the first things Guadi did after we moved in was put the wooden recipe box on top of the fridge. She told me it was locked with a spell. Let me be clear, Selma, she said. There's a magical alarm set on the box. You'll get caught. And there will be consequences if you ever try to open it. It's out here in plain sight to remind you to have patience and practice. The better you do with the spells I've already taught you, the more likely I can teach you more. It's now the 2nd week in September and the beginning of the 3rd week of school. When we first moved here, Guadi taught me a new spell every couple of days. But since school started, she hasn't taught me any new ones. This morning, I'm lying in bed extra long, thinking about and planning my trip to Paris. I have also been practicing my French. Bonjour, ça va bien, et toi? If I can basically say, hello, how are you, and point at the food I want, I should be okay. After all, I'm almost 10 and a half years old. I think I've learned enough to take my first trip alone and I've been working on a spell to get there. I already know I'll need to wear warm clothes because it's kind of cold and rainy there right now. But that's okay, because I plan to duck into a warm cafe for a hot buttery croissant and with chocolate inside and a cafe au lait. A lot of people think 5th grade is too young for coffee, but Guadi and I don't think so. I see kids at school with Coke, Gatorade, Doritos, and gummy worms, all of which have no major nutritional value and are full of chemicals. Coffee, especially cafe au lait, is a source of calcium and helps me stay awake for Mr. Crisp's class. He teaches geography and social studies, but he's never actually been anywhere. So when he talks about people, places, and foods, it's flat, all on paper. He sometimes gets mad at me because I ask him a lot of detailed questions he can't answer about places that aren't in the book. And he refuses to look it up on the internet because he says he learned from books, and if it was good enough for him, then it's good enough for us. He gets me so frustrated. Sometimes I think if he had the power to erase my curiosity the way he erases the board, he would do just that. I better hurry up and finish getting ready. It's past time to leave for school. I'm so excited we have art class today. I can't believe school's out already, and I'm on my way home. Today the sky is the color of wet gray slate. I'm excited because the city is getting geared up for the Chicago Marathon. Guadi says I should start training with my friend Hurley so we can run a few blocks of the race from Ashland Avenue all the way to Halsted Street. Hurley moved to Chicago at the same time I moved here, only he moved from North Carolina instead of Philadelphia. He's my first real friend here. Even though this is only my 3rd week of school, I feel like I can trust him. Maybe someday I can even tell him about my powers. I wonder if anyone noticed that I did a spell to make art class last longer because we were making these God's eyes out of popsicle sticks and yarn, and I hadn't finished mine yet. I also changed the water in the drinking fountain to iced tea. It left the principal, Mrs. Catania, totally confused. I know Guadi said not to do magic at school, but the kids liked it, so we have plenty of energy all day. But not everything I do at school involves magic. I like to do helpful things like clean the board and help Hurley with his math homework. I also like to help Mrs. Cushing make sure all of the computers are logged out at the end of our class. I'm super hungry for dinner already, even though it's still the afternoon and not dinner time yet. Last night, Guadi made my favorite, chilaquiles. She blended stewed tomatoes and chipotle peppers, then mixed them with tortilla chips, onions, and scrambled eggs. We added avocado and queso fresco. Because, on top, it's one of my favorite mouth experiences because there's like a slight crunch from the chips. Then my tongue gets a tinkle from the chipotle, and the sauteed onions to actually turn a little sweet. The scrambled egg is like the goodness glue that sticks it all together. I can't wait to heat up the leftovers when I get home. That was chapter 1. I'm going to stop there because I actually need to make dinner. I'm actually roasting Brussels sprouts with bacon and making pizza muffins for my kiddo. Hey, Tracy. I just read chapter 1 of The Amazing Adventures of Selma Calderón. Hi, Rhonda. Glad to see you. So we have people so far here from Chicago, I think someone from the DC area, New Mexico, and Mississippi. And I don't know where you're from, Tracy, but I am pretty excited that we've been able to gather. And I thank you all for joining. If you want, I can read, I don't know, do you want me to read chapter 2? I could do that. It's from the point of view of the guardian, Guadi. Maybe what I'll do is set us up for another reading party tomorrow night. I'm going to see what's on the plans for Camp FTC. That's Camp Flatten the Curve. All right. Wishing you all lots of creativity at home. Mwah. Bye.